One of music's most beloved icons wanted to be a veterinarian, but changed her plans because she didn't think she could pass science exams. She decided to chase her second dream of becoming a performer. And after winning a national talent contest for her angelic voice in 1965, she blossomed into one of the most popular singers the world has ever known. By the time she became a movie star in the highest grossing musical in movie history, 1978, everyone had fallen in love with her. And we all were heartbroken when she passed away after a fitful 3-decade battle with breast cancer. Our tribute to Olivia Newton John is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you remember playing or having played Chutes and Ladders, Battleship, Candyland, Game of Life, or even Hungry Hippos, you're going to dig this channel. Nostalgia of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Story of your favorite songs straight from the legends. We also have a Patreon that you need to check out. A lot of stuff that you'll really enjoy, extra stuff behind the scenes. That helps us to keep it a daily channel. Click on the link below. We also want to thank our sponsors, Any Eyewear. You know, the last few weeks have been very sad in the world of music. We lost one of the reigning queens of popular music, legend Olivia Newton John.
It was better left unsaid. It's justified. Are you sure? 'Cause I'm sure down deep inside. You have to believe we are magic. There's not a place to hide from me, my baby.
As long as you were there, skies may not always be blue.
After winning over audiences every time she grabbed a microphone or stepped on a stage as an amateur performer through the 60s, Olivia Newton John earned her first international hit in 1971 with a version of Bob Dylan's composition, If Not For You.
If not for you.
The single broke the top 10 in her home country of Australia, the UK, and Canada, and it peaked at number 25 on the Billboard Hot 100 here in America. It was the first of 27 singles that hit the top 40 here in America for Olivia, 5 of which went all the way to number 1. Let's list all 5 of them. Her first chart topper was I Honestly Love You in 1974.
I honestly love you.
Have You Never Been Mellow in 75?
Have you never been mellow? Have you never tried?
You're the One That I Want with John Travolta from Grease in 78. Magic, one of my favorite songs ever from the movie Xanadu in 80. And in 81, Olivia scored her 5th number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with the provocative Physical. Now, since the first Hot 100 singles chart was published by Billboard magazine on August 4th, 1958, more than 1,000 songs have reached that coveted number 1 position on the survey. Only 42 of those songs have held the top position for 10 weeks or more. And that's over all time up to now. The first single to reach the feat was Elvis's immortal rendition of Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller's Hound Dog. It spent 11 weeks at number 1 in 56 and 57, just prior to Billboard's consolidated pop chart that combines sales and airplay as a formula to determine the most popular songs in America.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time.
Technically, the first single to remain at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 10 weeks or more, since the inception of the consolidated survey, was Debbie Boone's ballad, You Light Up My Life, that spent 10 weeks at the top in 77. The second track to earn that achievement was Physical, the biggest single of the 1980s and a transformative steamroller for the image of Olivia Newton John. Physical was written by Steve Kipner and Terry Shattuck. It was originally meant for Rod the Mod Stewart to record, actually. I mean, Rod would seemingly be perfect for a suggestive song about getting horizontal with the lyrics, let me hear your potty talk, right? When Rod passed on the song, though, it was offered to Tina Turner. This was before a big comeback. She was also a client of Olivia's then manager, Roger Davies. Tina didn't care for the song either, and she recommended they present the tune to Olivia Newton John. Now, when Olivia first reviewed the song from Kipner, originally titled Let's Get Physical, she dismissed it as being too cheeky. Davies knew Physical could be a huge hit for Olivia, but he had to talk her into it. Olivia was very modest in private and had a very safe, wholesome public image. In addition to her perennial success at pop radio, she thrived on country radio and also adult contemporary. Recording a song that was so blatantly sexual as Physical would be an extremely bold move for Olivia, and one that was not really her. The only time she ventured outside her conservative bubble was in Grease, when her Sandy character transformed from goody two-shoes to steamy vixen. The scene that pretty much turned many boys into men, let's be honest.
Tell me about it, stud.
Actually, Olivia was very close to turning down the role of Sandy because at 28, she felt that she was too old to play a high school student. But John Travolta ultimately impelled her to take it. Great choice there. Nobody else could have been Sandy. As the musical climate began to change in the early 80s, Olivia was in need of a reinvention, something that would give her an edge and break her out of the safe image of the 70s that had become passé with the exciting emergence of new wave and music television. Instead of being part of this vital new scene, Olivia began the 80s with innocuous duets like I Can't Help It with Andy Gibb and Suddenly with Cliff Richard.
Every day and every night without you, I can't survive. The wheels are in motion, and
Olivia was astute enough to acknowledge that the new decade was taking her right down a middle-of-the-road path that would have pigeonholed her forever if she didn't do something a little drastic. Davies convinced Olivia that Physical was the perfect song for her to record that would electrify the next phase of her career. Davies and producer John Farrar assembled a group of elite musicians in the studio to record Physical. There was Carlos Vega on drums, there was Gary Herbig on French horn, Farrar handled the rhythm guitar, and David Hungate on bass, and of course his total bandmate, the great Steve Lukather. He delivered a blistering guitar solo for the song's instrumental bridge. Speaking of Olivia Newton John, a lot of people don't realize you played the solo on Physical, which was the number one song of the 80s as far as the pop charts go.
I remember, I was the guy, I played on Beat It too. I play on these songs with these titles. You give me a title like Beat It or Let's Get Physical. And I'm looking at the producer going like, are you kidding me, man?
And then they go down that list of guitar players, Lukather, they call him. Boom.
No, I used to play a lot of, at that time they used to have guitar solos in songs on the radio. Now they don't.
I know, it's crazy.
And I did a lot of them and it was fun.
Now Steve Lukather, Luke had worked on other Olivia Newton John records when he was only a teenager. When the highly sought-after Axeman came into the studio to do his stuff on Physical, I guess he took one look at the lyric sheet and he howled. He thought the song was way too risque to make it on pop radio, and he grossly underestimated its hit potential. In fact, Lukather told Farrar, one of his earliest employers as a session player, that he thought the song was a joke. Farrar shared the laugh with his friend for a moment. But then he shot back, I know, mate, but it's going to be a biggie. Luke had a great ear, or has a great ear, but even his trained instincts could deceive him at times, such as his prediction that Toto's signature track, Africa, would be a big fat stiff. Now, after Physical was recorded and submitted to the record label for release, Olivia got serious cold feet. She called Davies, her manager, in a state of panic. I've gone too far, she told Davies. The song was too raunchy. We got to pull it. Davies informed Olivia that it was too late, though. The single had already gone to radio, but the good news was the song was on fire. Now, this news was bittersweet for Olivia, who was horrified but excited at the same time. When Physical was released, September of 1981, it was met with immediate resistance from many radio stations that considered it too scandalous. They banned it from airplay. No one would have expected that a new single by Olivia Newton John would cause such an uproar. The controversy embarrassed Olivia at first, but she quickly realized that the moral rumbling only fueled the song's popularity, and it became an unstoppable blockbuster, just as Davies and Farrar had predicted it would be.
You know what I mean?
To tone down the raciness of the song, with some lighthearted fun, Brian Grant directed a music video that tapped into the aerobics craze of the early 80s. Brilliant move. Olivia sported a fresh new short hairdo and a tight leotard and headband. She would aerobicize, if you will, with a mixture of chiseled and flabby men in a workout gym. The video was massively played on MTV. It won the Grammy Award for Video of the Year in '82, actually. Again, a brilliant move because the controversy all but disappeared and the exercise music video became the lasting vision of the smash hit. I mean, when you think of Physical, you think of Olivia Newton John doing aerobics. Although in a poll conducted by Billboard magazine, Physical was named #1 sexiest song of all time, with runner-up honors going to the man that Physical was originally intended for that passed it up, Rod Stewart, and his biggest single, Tonight's the Night.
Tonight's the night.
Physical has inspired some of today's biggest stars like Doja Cat and Dua Lipa.
Let's get physical.
And the look became so iconic that the 80s are forever tied to it instead of the other way around. Olivia Newton-John followed her towering success of Physical with Make a Move on Me, another top 5 smash from the 10 times platinum Physical LP. She capped off 1982 with the #3 single, Heart Attack, which was a new track included on Olivia's Greatest Hits Volume 2, a record that my parents had, I have now, and they played it incessantly when I was growing up. I knew every single song by heart. Always takes me back to the best of times. 1983, Olivia released Twist of Fate from the motion picture soundtrack at Two of a Kind, a movie that reteamed her with John Travolta.
It's gotta be a strange twist of fate, telling me that heaven can.
Soul Kiss in '85 was the last Olivia Newton-John track to crack the top 40 and went to #20.
There is a fire burning somewhere.
I tell you, when I heard the sad news about Olivia Newton-John passing away, with a lump in my throat, I thought, not her. I've been trying to interview her for the longest time. So many great memories of those songs. I know that she had been battling breast cancer since she was first diagnosed in 1993. But she had fought it back so many times. I hoped that she would live much longer than she did. She was such a kind and charitable person. I wasn't surprised to learn that her first love was caring for animals. One time she cared for 9 dogs, 4 cats, and 5 horses. When Olivia was recording If Not For You, she brought her dog to the studio and took the pet into the vocal booth while she was performing her vocal for the song. On the mastered final recording, one can still hear the sounds of the dog knocking over a music stand at the end of the bridge. If you didn't know what really happened, it sounds like just a hint of electronic distortion. When Olivia Newton-John became famous and the press began digging for information about her upbringing, Olivia's mother revealed that her daughter constantly brought home stray dogs, stray cats, sometimes rescuing them from certain death. Olivia recounted a time when she witnessed a guy being abusive to a horse that was pulling a cart. Olivia, who I guess was only 10 years old at the time, grabbed the reins and scolded the man, yelling for him to stop whipping the poor horse. As a child, she wanted to be a veterinarian, like I said, but she abandoned the notion with fears that she wouldn't pass the science exams necessary to get the degree. Throughout her adult life, she has been a tenacious crusader for animal rights, raising awareness and donations for this cause. Every artist or producer that I've spoken with that has had the privilege of knowing her, worked with her, loved her. Olivia was the symbol of character, grace, and class, with a voice that radiated benevolence. It's fitting that she was one of the best-selling artists of the second half of the 20th century with sales in excess of 100 million units. She was a recipient of 4 Grammy Awards, including Best Female Country Vocal Performance in '73 for Let Me Be There.
Let me be there in your night.
Olivia won 4 People's Choice Awards, of course she did, 9 Billboard Music Awards, and 10 American Music Awards. 2002, Olivia was inducted in Australia's ARIA Hall of Fame. Like I said, Olivia Newton John was always played in my home growing up. My parents had all of her records. Both my mom and dad both loved her for different reasons, but she's just one of those entertainers that seemed like a part of your family, part of your childhood. From Grease to Xanadu, from Hopelessly Devoted to You to Magic, her voice has always been a serious source of joy and comfort. I mean, she personified the 70s and early 80s, and you could make an argument that she is the original queen of pop. She did it with such class, such refinement, and elegance that is truly missing from today's music. A beacon of courage and fortitude. I can't say enough about her. It's a loss, a tough loss. Olivia, you encouraged us with your music and the power of your music, your strength, your enchanting spirit. It just brought dreams alive for all of us. For me as a kid, and still now. Because of you, I believe in magic. Leave us a comment on Olivia Newton John. What are your memories of her and her music? What are your thoughts on the songs as all-time classics? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what songs we should go in-depth on, her greatest songs. I love Magic. It's just one of the most spiritual pop songs ever. Make sure that you subscribe below. This is the whole reason we do this, to honor these great legends who have lived, who have touched our lives, the soundtrack of our lives. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.